So before we think about the overall impact of school physical environment on its education, on students' progress, let's think about it for a moment. So please, if I may, imagine a very perfect physical environment in school that you would like to study in, that will motivate you, that will make you comfortable in your own personal space. Would it be like the first slide or the second slide? So of course I presume that everyone here, about maybe 75% here, will pick the first slide. Well, what if I were to tell you a very sad and tragic kind of reality, that the second slide is the real one, and it's not just Google stock images. It is real. It is from Indonesia. Indonesia students all over Indonesia, about 50% of them has been learning and educating themselves in this kind of environment. It is unfair, if you will. We should absolutely give them the same chance as right now. As you can see, a lot of school physical environment is available here. Great chairs, great ventilations, and even this mic right now is helping me as a student to show you on how important this topic is to me. And so that's why I've had this research. What is the problem? Well, the problem is that the negative effects of the school physical environment on the academic performance of students in Surabaya. Before we dive into the deeper meanings and the deeper data of my problem, let us go to the background. So, of course, as you all know, learning, education is important. We're in school right now. And it is the main aspect of how countries can thrive, just like Indonesia currently, to thrive in economy, sustainability, in happiness, in performances. But there's this one problem that Indonesia has. Indonesia is currently in the last rank of about 50 countries. Now, of course, you might be asking how. It's quite odd to me as well, as Indonesia is very, very populated. It is the fourth most populated country here, all around the world. But why is the education ranked so low? Why is the education system not well? Well, of course, there are a lot of factors and many aspects that made it bad. Maybe it's not many teachers are there in the school. Maybe there are a lot of lacks of schools there are in Indonesia. But there is this one aspect that not many people have talked about enough, and it is the school physical environment. So, as you all know, school physical environment, the chairs, the lights right now, the ventilations, air conditioners, it is all aspects of school physical environment. And that is why, and as you know, school physical environment is absolutely very important to support and motivate all of the students to have a motivation to learn, to get knowledge and all of that. And that is why I conducted this study, and of course I couldn't get all of the aspects on why Indonesia is on the last rank of all of those 50 countries. So I picked school physical environment and to pick Surabaya, because Surabaya isn't as big as Jakarta and isn't as advanced as Jakarta, because I would like to give this kind of problem to the voice to the schools that doesn't have as much school physical environment as Jakarta. And so my hypothesis, here's my hypothesis. So I believe that school physical environment is absolutely one of the crucial things that makes school systems be better, that makes the students' academics be better. But is that true or not from the data? But before we go further along on how I could possibly solve this kind of problem, I would like to give your attention to public schools and private schools. So as you know, public schools as known as sekolah negeri or private schools as known as sekolah swasta. So what is the difference of these two? Is it the education or is it the teachers? No, not all of that. The difference is the difference of payment. So as you all know, public schools are being funded by governments only, and the students can get there for free. And as for the private schools are made from private organizations and private people and groups. And so, from those two, as you can expect, that the private schools will always have a quote-unquote better school physical environment than the public one. But how do we help them? How do we make the government's income be greater? Well, instead of just paying our taxes, I think it's great I think I have an alternative way, which is a solution called the charity event. So this type of charity event will see all of the public schools that needed help to see which schools are in such a critical situation with their environment, and we'll seek them out, and then we'll donate and research on what they needed most. Will it be the chairs? Is the desk broken? Is the ventilation's not working well? All of that stuff. And we would absolutely donate everything to them, so their schools can have a better chance at a better physical environment as us. And so let's go on to the data. So I have spent a good maybe 2 months researching and finding respondents to ask them about the school physical environment. So we first have the quantitative and qualitative data. So the quantitative data, I have gotten about 65 respondents in my questionnaire, and for qualitative data, I have about 2 professionals, which I'll nickname Miss P and Mr. T. So the first data that I will show you is explaining about the current Surabaya's school setting. So currently, of course, all of my research before was made from my research from online, so it could be very outdated. So I gave myself a lot of time to see and if all of the schools are actually still in need. And turns out it's not really. The results are neutral. They didn't pick uncomfortable, they didn't pick comfortable, but that's still great because we can still make an improvement to make their school physical environment better. And next, I have the school physical environment effects on the students' academic. What is the actual effect of it? Well, from my research I have conducted, that turns out comfortable environments does make a difference, and it does affect the overall academic. About people that got below 70, that's an average score of theirs, is having their environment uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the people who has 90 until 100 scores, they usually have a more comfortable environment. And third, we have the difference in public and private schools. So turns out I would thought that the public school would have a lower chance of getting a better score, but I was absolutely incorrect on that hypothesis. Turns out that even though in my research they do have a difference of comfortable level, that public schools have a less comfortable environment than private schools, but turns out their scores, their average scores are still the same. They have the average about 70 until 80 scores in total. So what about my charity event? Does this mean that it's a fail? Well, I wouldn't say so. Because even though it wouldn't made that much of an impact as I thought it would still help them. It would still make them have a better, comfortable chance of learning. And so what is my conclusion? Well, my conclusion is that students have the right to get a more comfortable environment. As you can see from all of the slides and the pictures that I've had, we wouldn't want that to our future generation. We wouldn't want that to your kids, to your grandkids. We wouldn't want that to anyone for that to happen. And so that is why we should absolutely help others in need, even though there is no reward to it. It's just what is right. We have to do what is right. Thank you.